Okay, if you're like me, you've got a GE alarm panel, maybe another brand of alarm panel, and you've got an Alarm.com SEM, System Enhancement Module, and you've got a Schlage keyless entry, possibly two. Well, I just spent the entire day effing around trying to get this stuff to work, and I thought this might be helpful to you guys. If you're like me, you've had a Wink system for quite a while, and you're not really happy with the fact that Wink has decided to charge us $60 a year to open our front doors and turn on a couple of lights. The system is glitchy at best, and their tech support has gone downhill in a big way. I spent the entire morning trying to call them, and not only did I not get through, but I continued to get a busy signal, so there wasn't even a voicemail or anything I could get through. What they have done is they have gone to a subscription service, and they're locking you out of your ability to remove your Z-Wave locks, and I was unable to remove them until I subscribed to their service. So being unable to get a hold of them to get tech support, I decided to subscribe for 1 hour and then unsubscribe and then write them a nasty letter and hopefully get my money back. But $5 is way cheaper than sitting around wasting my whole day for waiting for them for tech support. So once you subscribe, and there's an online procedure for that, just go ahead and subscribe. It will instantly unlock your account and let you control your locks again. Once you control your locks, you can now remove them, and that's what you have to do. If they're subscribed to your system, then they have it in their memories that they're going to be on your system. And if your Wink is still active for your lights, then it's going to try to still Z-Wave to your locks, and it could get really goofy. So basically, you want to remove them. Follow the step-by-step directions, and then it'll ask you to enter the programming code, and then hit 0. And wait for it to give you a green check mark to say it successfully removed itself from the system. Once you've done that for however many locks you have, then you're ready for the next steps. Initialize your lock. And that's a pretty simple procedure. Disconnect the battery pack from inside, and be gentle with the wires. Those wires are going to break with as many times as you have to connect and disconnect and reconnect and change your batteries and stuff like that. And I highly suggest when you change your batteries that you don't pull the battery compartment out of there. Disconnect them first, slide them up so they're free. Otherwise, you put extra tension on that tiny little cable and it's going to break. The next step would be to press the Schlage button on the front a couple times to discharge the power. Then hold the Schlage button and then reconnect the power. You'll see a green check mark flash, and you'll see a red light on the back as you connect the power. And the signal that you've done it properly is when you hit the Schlage button, it lights up. Otherwise, if you didn't do it right, it'll just lock the door. So it'll light up, it'll be waiting for an entry, and then you type in a user code. And the user codes are, at this point, default. You've got nothing left inside there, so hopefully you've written down your user codes. That should be step 1 in this video. Contact all of your friends and family that need user codes for your door and get them to give you a new code. And I highly suggest you upgrade your security from a 4-digit code to at least a 6-digit code. So contact your friends and family, get a 6-digit code from them, and get ready to reprogram the entire lock. The lock should go into a reset procedure where it retensions the lock. And if you lost your programming codes, don't panic. Simply just take your whole lock off the door. On the back of the lock, there is the original factory programming code. It's inside the mechanism, so you'll have to take off the 2 screws that hold the back on. You don't have to disconnect anything. You can keep it all connected, but you'll just have to hold in your hand, write down the code, and then put it all back together again. After you've gotten your factory codes and your family's codes, make sure you have all your codes ready because you're going to have to do a lot of typing numbers in here. After you've reset the lock, put it in the lock position and hit Schlage, enter your programming code, and then hit the letter 8 to change it to 6 digits, and then type in 6, and then it'll beep, and then 6 again. And that's telling it that you would now like to wipe all the user codes in there and set it to a 6-digit user code. Once you've done that, you can go ahead and enter all your user codes for your family, and you only have to go into enter code entry once. You don't have to keep going in and out of it. Once you're in code entry, you can literally enter all of the codes one right after another. you will be required to enter each code twice. If it's successful, you'll get a green check. If it's unsuccessful or they don't match, you will get a red X. So you have to do 2 consecutive perfect codes for each user, and then it will give you a green check for each one as you go along. If you're like me and you can fat finger it, simply the second pass, fat finger it again, it'll give you a red X, and then you can start over and enter the code without fat fingering it. So enter all your user codes in, and then you've got a 6-digit code, you're ready to go. Then you're going to open up your alarm panel. You're going to crack open your alarm.com SEM, and you're going to look for the Z-Wave button, and you're going to hold it down. You're going to hold it down, you're going to watch the lights flash, and when it starts flashing in a sequence of 4, release it. That means it's ready to receive a fresh lock. You've already removed your locks from your Wink Hub in the earlier step, and now you're ready to, and you've reinitialized it, and you're ready to add it to the alarm.com system. So since it's never been in there before, it should go smoothly. However, mine did not. I tried to do it 8 times unsuccessfully and finally got frustrated, and then I had to power down the entire alarm system, take my lock off the door, move the lock in close proximity to the alarm system, and literally hold it in my hands as I was like standing right next to the alarm panel, and then program it from there. Put it in the lock position, you hit Schlage, you hit the programmer code, and 0. And once your lock has been added successfully, you will see the green check mark on the Schlage light up, and on the case of my alarm system, it actually beeped. I did it 8 times unsuccessfully. It did not beep any of those times, and finally on the 9th time, it beeped. And once it was married, it worked really well. But it took many attempts to get it married, and I had to reboot the entire system. To reboot your entire system, what you want to do is you want to disconnect the battery. You're going to want to pull the black terminal first, and then the red terminal, and then you're going to want to unplug it. So battery first, black terminal, red terminal. You'll still have power, and then you'll unplug it, and then it'll be dead. Let it sit for a couple of seconds. Then I like to put my battery on first. So then you do the reverse. You basically put the red terminal on first, put the black terminal on, and then you will have battery power. Your system will start booting up. And then after it establishes, works on the battery power for, good 5-10 seconds, then go ahead and plug it back in. And once the system's booted, then you can add it again. And you don't need to reboot your system if it adds properly, but if it doesn't add properly, you're going to want to reboot your entire control panel. And the point is that worked for me after 8 unsuccessful attempts. I decided to just power cycle the entire control panel. If you screw up and the lock doesn't add properly, you'll need to remove it. And to remove it, you hold down that Z-Wave button until it starts blinking 4 times, and then you let go. And then you hold it down again until it blinks 2 times. And that'll start that means it's ready to remove or disassociate the lock with the control panel. And then for the lock, you do the exact same procedure. You put it in the lock position, you hit Schlage, you hit the programmer code, and 0. And you should get a green check, and again, your system should alert you or beep. If you're frustrated like me, again, just power cycle your control panel as well. And remember, because it's on a battery, you have to take the battery out as well. And I suggest doing it in that order. The last step in this process is you're going to want to log into your alarm.com account from a computer. And once you're logged into the computer, you're going to want to look on the side for settings, which is by the bottom there. So you've got home, video, automation, notifications. It's on the left side there. So right under users, there's settings. So once you're in settings, you're going to want to click on devices. And there are 3 types of devices. There's automation devices, then there's panel devices, and then loss devices. And automation devices is what you're going to want. Now, as you can see here, I've got a front door and a back door. And they are Z-Wave locks, and they say status locked OK. That's not what they originally said. They originally, the device name comes up as lock ID 1, or if your second attempt, it's going to be lock ID 2. I had 9 attempts, so mine was lock ID 9. And each time I would, rename it, bad door or whatever, it didn't work. So I knew I wasn't dealing with the one I was trying to test. So once you remove it from using the removal procedure from the Z-Wave panel, it'll eventually trickle down and it'll remove from the device list as well. And that's the same going forward. Once you add a device, it does take a little while to populate. So don't freak out if it's not there. It will take a minute. It'll say your account is set up for devices, but you don't have any in the list. And if your account is not set up for extra devices, you'll want to call alarm.com and tell them that you're adding Schlage locks and that you want to pay for the extra services to add the devices. My account was set up for it. I just didn't have anything on there because I am using a video camera, and I was using Wink for my locks, and now that Wink has gone to hell, we are moving over to alarm.com. And again, it was really hard to find all this information, and I've actually done this kind of stuff before, but it was really a tricky situation, especially with the fact that it would not, what I call marry. It would not marry properly. It would divorce properly, but it would not marry properly. So, and I hope that someday soon Wink goes out of business so we can be done with that situation. Hopefully you guys have as much luck, have better luck than I did, but in the end I did get it working, and it seems to be working pretty reliably now. So enjoy the video. Thank you.